November 28, 1943. Summit Resolve. The Tehran Conference marked a direct shift in Allied strategy during the Second World War. Roosevelt, Churchill, and Stalin met face-to-face for the first time. Their meeting set clear military goals, shaped the structure of post-war Europe, and confirmed cooperation against Nazi Germany. The conference opened on November 28, 1943, after long planning and careful security measures. Each leader arrived with firm national aims, yet each leader understood the value of a shared plan. Their decisions produced clear actions that helped shorten the war and influence later global order. The conference began with a strong focus on military coordination. Roosevelt pushed for a firm commitment to a cross-channel invasion in 1944. He sought a clear promise from Churchill and Stalin because United States military planners wanted one unified plan to handle supply lines and troop distribution. Churchill held concerns about a direct invasion of France. He feared heavy losses and pressed for operations in the Mediterranean. Stalin demanded pressure on Germany from the West. He believed the Red Army carried most of the fighting burden and wanted relief through a second major front. The talks produced agreement on Operation Overlord as the primary invasion plan. This plan stated that Allied forces would land in northern France in the late spring of 1944, while a supporting operation would strike southern France. This decision brought unity, answered Soviet requests, and forced German leaders to divide their defenses. The conference also shaped political goals. Roosevelt used the meeting to build trust with Stalin. He aimed to keep the Soviet Union in a long-term partnership after the war. He held private talks with Stalin to create direct communication without Churchill present. Roosevelt believed this step would ease disputes and help prevent future conflict. Churchill tried to protect British influence in Europe. He spoke about post-war borders, national choice, and the need to restrain Soviet expansion. Stalin wanted recognition of Soviet security demands. He insisted that Poland's borders shift west. He argued that the Soviet Union needed stable frontiers because German armies had crossed those lands twice in one generation. These talks did not settle every issue, but they exposed each leader's position with clarity. The leaders also addressed Iran's condition. They met in Tehran, and the city itself showed wartime strain. Allied troops occupied Iran to keep supply routes open. The leaders gave a joint pledge to respect Iran's independence and support its economy after the war. This pledge held symbolic value because it showed that the Allies understood the effects of their presence on smaller nations. It also signaled a shift to cooperative reconstruction once fighting ended. The conference produced clear military outcomes beyond the invasion plan. The leaders agreed to increase supply aid to the Soviet Union through the Persian Corridor. They confirmed plans to intensify bombing of German industry. They also discussed operations in Burma to support Chinese forces. These decisions created a unified timetable across continents. Military officers gained clear targets, and logistical teams could plan with stronger efficiency. The presence of all three leaders in one place also carried strong psychological weight. Each leader recognized the risk of travel in wartime, yet each accepted it because unity mattered. Photographs and reports from the meeting showed a solid alliance. This helped reassure soldiers and citizens across Allied nations. It also sent a clear message to Germany and its partners that the coalition stood firm. The Tehran Conference shaped later events. It set conditions for the Yalta and Potsdam conferences. It built patterns of discussion that later revealed points of tension that grew into the Cold War. Yet in 1943, the meeting's main effect was simple. It gave the Allies one shared plan to defeat Germany. Operation Overlord launched the next year. It opened the Western Front and increased pressure on the German army. Combined with Soviet advances in the East, it pushed the war toward conclusion. The conference showed how three leaders with different systems could agree on concrete action when the stakes were high. Their choices carried clear results on the battlefield and in diplomacy. Their meeting in Tehran remains a major moment in 20th century history because it marked a point where strategy, cooperation, and urgency aligned with precision. For enthusiasts of historical ephemera, visit history-collectors.com to find collectibles that might complement your collection.